Hello, beautiful. I'm Bernard Charles here at Chroma Mystic and author of the Color Mage Oracle. And I'm so excited that you are tuning in, subscribing, watching, vibing. You know, it's the thing to do. I wanted to make a video to help you understand tarot and using the color deck together, because I think that's so powerful in it. And when you're combining cards like that, you're able to see the situation and the messages in a very cool and new way. So I have my deck here, and I created a quick tarot and color like guide that you can find on my website, chromamystic.com. The guide is like $1.99. It has to be that way to avoid fraud, because apparently there's just a bunch of people out in the world that just like do fake orders, and they spam people, and I'm like, I'm not having that. So it was recommended to do like a low tiny cost. So that's why it is what it is. Even though I'm used to ebooks and things being free, it's just we're not living in the same world like we were living in like 10 years ago. So right now I'm just trying to find the colors that came up in that quick guide, and to help you understand what we're looking at and vibings. There are 108 colors, so it's quite a lot. For the tarot that we'll be using to just demonstrate things, you can use whatever tarot deck you feel compelled to use. I have here the Easy Tarot. This was my first tarot deck. In like middle school, high school, I would go to the bookstore, Borders, when Borders was a thing, and I noticed that the tarot decks would be behind glass cases, and I always was intimidated by it. So even though glass is see-through, I was always too insecure about my attraction and fascination with tarot, with like spirituality, especially if it's gate kept behind a glass. I just felt intimidated because tarot is seen as spooky. It's ancient. It seems very mysterious. It could be seen as evil, but it's not. It's just a different way to look at your world, like you would look at your world through a movie or a book or a piece of art on the wall. So it's taken a bit for me to get the courage to look at tarot, and it wasn't until college when I went to a different bookstore and the tarot decks were out to touch. They weren't behind glass cases. So this was my first tarot, Easy Tarot, and I love it because it just was my introduction to tarot. I'm going to pull up my guide here and find the tarot cards that match the colors. So because I chose the colors first, I have to color match with the tarot real fast. And there could be repeats because some of the colors were really resonating with different aspects of the tarot. So what I did was because there are so many tarot readers in the world, there are so many variations and interpretations of color. So this guide is not like a hard thing to like it's not like a rule book. It's just in the moment, sitting with spirit, color matching each tarot card to a different color in the color deck that really personifies, really symbolizes the universal message of that specific tarot card. But you might have a different association to it, and that is okay. You get to explore that. And I really hope you can take this guide and make your own tarot deck or make your own oracle deck to really hone in on the messages that you receive. Because the more that you create, the more magic that is created in the world. Because I've already found the cards, this is what we have to work with. So in 3 piles, you will put the tarot card on the bottom. You can put the color card on top. Oops. I'm just doing this. Okay, so in the guide, this is the example. So the colors you see will be the same colors that are in that PDF guide for you. So there's no surprise. We got sapphire, we have desert sand, we have sprout. I think this is a healthy number of cards to allow your brain to really hone in and focus on specifically. But the first pile, you will be your situation at present. It is often interpreted as challenges. It can also represent how you're in the layout example. This is just the current energy. In this specific example, I honed in on work and career and navigating the drudgery of working a 9 to 5, and at the time, like handling the reception of performance reviews, for example. So it was focused on that. So that is where you are. This is the energy that is representing the current vibes of the situation. The second pile is resources. What kind of energy, what kind of people, places, and things are reaching out for you? What can you do about this situation? So that's the second pile is trying to tap into a support system for you, and how can you be supportive of the positive messages that are coming through the first pile. And then the third pile is all about transforming out of these 2 piles. So it's 1 + 1 = this. So this is the culmination. This is the answer. This is the gift. This is getting you growing, evolving out of this. And it just coincidentally is a green card, but this is where you're headed. So in a way, this is you now. This is what you're gonna do about it, and then this is the future. You can look at it from that point of view. So I'm just using the Easy Tarot. so that you can see. And in the guide, it matches each color with each tarot card. And there's 78 tarot cards traditionally. And so sapphire will match the Knight of Swords based on the guide. And this would be different if you're not using the guide. Desert Sand is matching the Eight of Pentacles. And when I was like looking for the tarot cards, it was so funny because the colors are matching the colors inside the tarot card itself, which happens all the time. And I'm constantly getting emails and comments and messages from people who are doing readings with the color deck and using it with another oracle deck or another tarot deck, and they're realizing that the colors are matching the mood and the color palette within the images of the other card deck that they've chosen. It's so cool. And then we have the Page of Pentacles. So I do give you some keywords for swords and pentacles and cups, the different minor themes in the tarot. The Knight of Swords, this is really indicating a need to be decisive and quick and intellectual, sort of pokey. But it's interesting because it's sapphire, and sapphire's message is regenerating community. So if you think about the situation, in this example, it was focused on work. Maybe your throat chakra is, maybe you're feeling like people are cutting you off at work. Maybe difficult conversations, your emotions are rising, and you're very quick to cut off other people they're trying to communicate a complete sentence, and you're just initially jumping in there, cutting them off because you already intuit the opposition. You're already anticipating that friction. So sapphire in this instance is connected to teamwork and being able to give every person enough time and space to communicate their thoughts in complete sentences. You're also maybe in a period of being misunderstood in a team environment. Maybe zooming out. Maybe you're getting lost in how things are regimented in maybe a traditional community. Maybe it's the tarot community online and you feel kind of ostracized. Maybe you feel that pressure of trying to say the right thing at the right moment, trying to create the perfect project or perfect video or perfect whatever in order to appease this community. Sapphire is, the cool thing about Sapphire's message in conjunction with the Knight of Swords is having the mental acuity and expressive endurance to reinvigorate your approach to community. What does it mean to show up in a communal space? What does it mean to create a sacred space? So this is sort of the battery pack. And so in this instance, the challenge is communication, leadership, loyalty. Those values are, you have to be decisive on what you're cutting, and how are you using those values in a productive way that is restoring loyalty, community, and kind of be on the cutting edge. So how can you be on that cutting edge? Because it's the swords energy. I just keep defaulting to that just because it's required. And when you're trying to hold people accountable, especially if you're not in a leadership position at work. It can be difficult. So you have to know your boundaries. You have to know what cloth you're cut from, and you get to choose that. You have a choice. You have willpower in this instance. Speaking of choices and willpower, we'll move on to desert sand, your resources, your support. This energy and this message is an invitation for you to look at the situation from a creative perspective. And maybe the current environment is very toxic or very intense, and desert is not a happy environment to be in, and maybe your resources are limited. Maybe your scope of what you can do to help another coworker seems limited in a situation. Maybe you're dealing with office politics that you're trying to navigate. And so the cool thing about creativity is that sometimes the tools that are provided to you, the perfect ones, are already there for you. This could be through some positive creations stemming from the difficulties of navigating this team environment. Could be creating templates for yourself, creating maybe a tarot template for yourself for the day. I mean, using this quick guide is also another great example to try and like zero in and focus on your readings in a very productive way when you're using the color deck in conjunction with tarot. The Eight of Pentacles shows a person working diligently on a task or a project or client's work. And so maybe with the impact on a macro level, like I want to zoom out, there's a lot of corporations out there that are cutting their DEI programming and funding. So how is that seeping into where you are now? And so we have cobwebs, weaving. I think using spider energy is important right now. Spiders are they put that web out there, that network, to try and catch and attract sustenance and food. But this energy is kind of personifying like a starving artist mentality. And so maybe you, on a subconscious level, are navigating looking at your spirituality, looking at your art, looking at your project work, looking at how you want to show up in the world. Maybe you do believe that you have to be a starving artist to be true to your work, and you don't. Artists can be rich, and they can be thriving, and you have to remember that the resources are shifting and changing so that you can get really focus on what you do best. So if you focus on a singular thing and really become a specialist of that process, that project, that secret special sauce, then that's what's coming through here. And just being creative with your approach, and don't be afraid to be sort of simple in your work, and to be document things. Take the time to be, I'm losing the word for it, but I always feel like if you have a micromanaging boss, it's always best that you micromanage yourself, and you be very upfront and very direct and very open about how you are micromanaging your own self to hold your own self accountable. A really great example of this is I created, in my own day job, I created Excel documents tracking all of my mistakes, tracking all of my wins and ways that I go the extra mile. It is a little bit more daunting to micromanage myself in that way, but I just know that I need evidence. I need written documentation laying out the accusations that are coming before me, especially in, say, a performance review. So I think it's perfect that you can approach the situation in a way that you're annotating and documenting in a very routine fashion in how you're being creative so that you can be consistent. And I think that's the strongest message here is in order to endure these periods of drought and periods of change, you have to be resourceful, and that does require a sense of consistency on things that are maximizing what is giving you life. Because you as an artist are your role here is that you're creating for a purpose and for a reason, and you want to remind yourself of what that is. We have the third pile, which is so beautiful and so magical because this is about revealing an opportunity for you to learn from the situation, learning something new, and being in that headspace that you are open to learning. So maybe you can improve your communication style. Maybe you can improve how you're using your resources. Maybe you've been leaning on specific clients, like I know in the past I've had clients and I would do color readings for them, and they were consistent, and they were always buying the biggest package or whatever, and that really was, I was really supporting myself, living in my apartment, buying food, living on my color therapy work, but things change. And it's natural. And you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket either. And that's another element that's coming through this energy, is being able to have multiple streams of income and choosing to decide that you can introduce your own self and allow communities to overlap with one another, because there's different things that we can learn from other communities. I mean, that's the beauty of having D.E.I programming, is being able to just speak and being exposed to other walks of life. The Page of Pentacles is about recognizing your situation, but recognizing that you bring a very unique and special contribution to the team. And this is beautiful because this is kind of aristocratic in a way, but here's the peacock energy, and peacock energy is all about not being afraid to speak, even if your words are not beautiful. It takes a very fine-tuned ear to appreciate the beauty of the vocal resonance of a peacock's voice. But maybe you feel like your voice is quirky or silly, but you gotta show up. You got to display and to perform and to show the art that you've taken time and maybe years to work on. Like this is full on work, because you realize that you needed change, you needed to cut, you needed to, something painful, traumatic has hit the community or hit yourself, hit your home life. You can channel that into some beautiful creative energy as catharsis, and now you're able to just see your work in a different way, because people are able to interpret it in a different way, and you're able to piece it together, and you're able to sustain yourself over the long term. So it's a very beautiful energy to be working, because it's about realizing the strengths that you're bringing to the table. And it's not necessarily about specific sales or specific numbers or data or the number of subscribers you have. It's just about honing in on the work and the art and just really dedicating yourself to that and not forgetting to talk about it, not forget to market it, because that consistency, that effort that you're putting in over time, all of those granular interactions, every single one of those are adding up into like an hourglass of who you are. So I think it's very beautiful, the energy. And when you're working with tarot, like I've been doing tarot readings for years now, so this comes really natural. And there are some things that I have to go back to the book to just see from a different perspective, and it's the number one reason why I came out with a book for the Color Mage Oracle, is because I realized that people really need a book to really guide them through the colors themselves, and then you're able to piece together the best message that's coming forward. It's very positive. It's this energy that came out for this quick guide was so appropriate with the timing of things. And if you're able to use this as a reading in your own life to get you started in looking at tarot and looking at color, then I've done my job, and I'm so grateful. So you can see that each color really matches the tarot deck, and the colors could be different depending on the style and art of the individual like tarot deck that you use. But in this instance, it matched a lot better than I actually even knew. So that's the power of tarot, because I guess your subconscious is, they're like flashcards. So the more that you work with it, the more that energy is soaking into your brain waves. And that's the magic of art, being able to influence the world and influence your mindset. And when you're using color, you're participating in the universe. You're participating in this matrix of reality, and you're able to tap into a frequency and a resource that goes beyond paper, goes beyond someone's criticism of you, goes beyond your performance review at work, because you are a living incarnation of the sacred universe. So I'm so excited for you to check the guide out and allow it to help guide you in your own color and tarot readings. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can find my book, The Color Mage Oracle, by looking for it online. We are everywhere that we could possibly be. I'm trying to get the word out because I really believe in this work. I believe that color is power, and you deserve to know that you can use it in such a fun and magical way. So until next time, love, light, and color.